Have you ever had a moment when you suddenly realized that the best years of your life might already be behind you? Imagine this. A man in his late 60s sits alone at his kitchen table. The house is quiet. The evening light falls across the counter, where a few simple bottles and jars have been sitting for years, things he never thought much about. With a sigh, he picks up a glass and mixes together a drink using those very ordinary ingredients. Nothing fancy, nothing expensive. Just what's been sitting in his pantry all along. He takes a single sip. And then, within just 20 minutes, something extraordinary begins to happen. His chest feels lighter. His energy, which had been fading for years, suddenly surges like a fire being rekindled. His confidence, the kind he thought was gone forever, comes rushing back. Even his body begins to respond in ways it hasn't for decades. No prescription pills, no embarrassing doctor visits, no dangerous procedures, just a simple natural blend that works with his body's own chemistry. Now, I know what you might be thinking. That sounds impossible, too good to be true, but I can tell you it's very real. I am Dr. Mohit Kara, a urologist and men's health specialist with more than 30 years of experience helping men regain their strength, their performance, and most importantly, their sense of themselves. Over the decades, I've treated thousands of patients, veterans who once carried unshakable courage, hardworking farmers who spent their lives providing for others, dedicated teachers, busy executives, and ordinary husbands and fathers. Men who all shared one quiet fear that their vitality had slipped away for good. And yet, time and again, I've watched them experience transformations they didn't believe were possible. What I'm about to share with you isn't just medical theory. These are real solutions that have helped real men turn back the clock, sometimes by decades. Now, most of us have been told a story our whole lives, that age itself is the villain, that once you cross a certain birthday, everything begins to decline, and there's nothing you can do about it. But here's the surprising truth. For many men, age isn't the problem at all. The real culprits: blocked circulation that starves your most vital organs of blood and oxygen, hormonal imbalances that quietly chip away at testosterone, the very hormone that fuels your drive, your strength, and your masculinity, and a lack of key nutrients that your body once had in abundance, but no longer produces or absorbs as easily as it used to. And here's the best part. The fastest, safest fix doesn't come from a pharmaceutical lab or a high-priced supplement locked behind the pharmacy counter. It's not hidden away in some exotic jungle or sold with celebrity endorsements. It's sitting right there in your pantry, waiting. Today, I'm going to reveal 5 powerful vinegar-based combinations that can do 3 things men desperately need. Open your blood vessels, so circulation flows freely again. Protect and even boost your testosterone, so you feel more like yourself, and skyrocket your energy, sometimes in as little as 20 minutes. Stay with me, because in just a few minutes, I'll also share what I call the ultimate power blender recipe that combines the most potent elements of all 5 formulas into a single drink. This blend has restored confidence and performance for men well into their 70s, even 80s. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. We begin with the first formula, a combination so simple, so natural, that you might laugh when you hear it. Yet when used the right way, it has changed lives, including the life of one of my patients, a man named Walter. Formula 1, apple cider vinegar plus raw honey. When I think back on my decades of helping men over 60, one truth stands out. Nature often hides the most powerful solutions in the simplest forms. Walter was 72 years old, a retired firefighter. His entire career had been about strength, bravery, and protecting others. But by the time he sat in my office, his shoulders slumped in defeat. He told me he had lost his energy. His confidence was gone, and intimacy with his wife, once effortless, had become rare and awkward. Like so many men, he believed nothing short of a prescription pill could make him feel like himself again. When I suggested a mixture of apple cider vinegar and raw honey, he chuckled, thinking I was joking. But to his credit, he gave it a try. 1 week later he called me. His voice trembled not with weakness, but with excitement. "Doctor," he said, "something's changed. Now, let's break down why." Apple cider vinegar might look like nothing more than a cloudy brown liquid in a bottle, but inside is a powerful concentration of acetic acid, which works almost like a master key on your arteries. Think of your blood vessels like pipes in an old house. Over time, they become stiff, clogged with plaque, and inflamed. Apple cider vinegar helps dissolve those blockages, reduces inflammation markers, and lets blood flow smoothly again. But the real magic happens when you pair it with raw, unfiltered honey. Not the processed stuff you find in squeeze bottles, but real honey, golden, cloudy, alive with enzymes. This natural treasure contains a compound called chrysin. What does it do? It acts like a shield for your testosterone, protecting it from an enzyme called aromatase that tries to convert it into estrogen. Most men don't realize how much of their masculinity is quietly stolen this way. Year after year, estrogen creeps higher while testosterone sinks lower. But with raw honey defending your hormones and apple cider vinegar clearing your arteries, you have a formula that doesn't just improve physical performance, it restores a man's sense of himself. Here's the simple recipe: 2 tablespoons of organic apple cider vinegar, 1 teaspoon of raw Unfiltered honey, 8 ounces of warm water. Drink it about 30 minutes before you want to feel your best. The warmth activates the enzymes in the honey and speeds absorption, so the benefits reach you faster. Now, let me tell you what Walter noticed first. It wasn't just the bedroom, it was his entire life. His energy during the day skyrocketed, his mood lifted, his focus sharpened. He told me it felt as if his body had been carrying an invisible weight for years and suddenly set it down. And here's the most important part. This isn't a quick jolt that crashes later. This blend works gently, steadily, and sustainably. Over time, it supports healthier arteries, more stable hormones, and dependable energy. It's a small daily choice that can create massive shifts in your health, your confidence, and even the way you look at yourself in the mirror. But as powerful as this first formula is, it's only the beginning. Because the next blend takes an even sharper, more aggressive approach. It breaks down years of hidden blockages and pushes fresh, oxygen-rich blood exactly where you need it most. And the surprising ingredient behind it, you've probably walked past it in the grocery store hundreds of times without realizing the power it holds. So if you're still with me, and this first formula has opened your eyes to what's possible, let me know in the comments by typing the number 1, bad way. I'll know you're ready for what comes next, because the second formula might just change everything. The first formula showed us how a simple combination of apple cider vinegar and raw honey can reignite a man's energy and confidence. But sometimes, you need a sharper tool, something that cuts straight through years of hidden blockages. And that's exactly where our second formula comes in. Formula 2. White vinegar plus fresh ginger ale. Never forget the day Frank walked into my clinic. Frank was 68, a retired construction worker. His hands were rough and calloused, like sandpaper that had carried heavy beams, poured concrete, and built homes from the ground up. His shoulders were broad, but his face carried the weary look of a man who had been told it's over. He leaned forward in the chair across from me and spoke with a mixture of defiance and frustration. "Doc," he said, "I'm not ready to hang it up, but nothing's working anymore." For 10 long years, he had struggled with performance. His physician had told him flatly, accepted, that this was his reality now, that there was nothing more to do but learn to live with it. Imagine hearing that, being told your vitality is gone for good. But as I looked into Frank's eyes, I could see the fire still burning. He wasn't ready to accept defeat, and I knew exactly what to suggest. Now, most people overlook white vinegar. It doesn't have the same trendy reputation as apple cider vinegar. You won't find it on wellness blogs with fancy labels. But what it does contain is powerful, pure concentrated acetic acid. Think of it like a cleaning crew for your arteries. Over the years, calcium deposits and hardened plaque begin to line your blood vessels. They turn flexible, living tissue into rigid tubes, and when that happens, circulation slows to a crawl, energy fades, performance slips away. White vinegar goes to work on those deposits, gently dissolving them, helping to restore flexibility to your arteries, so that fresh, oxygen-rich blood can finally move freely again exactly where you need it most. But the real magic happens when you combine it with fresh ginger, and I'm not talking about the powdered stuff sitting forgotten in your spice rack. I mean real, firm ginger root, the kind that bursts with aromatic oils the second you grate it. Inside ginger are compounds called gingerols and chagalls. These aren't just spices, they're powerful natural agents that do 2 incredible things. First, they relax the smooth muscle tissue of your blood vessels, widening the pathways so blood can surge through more easily. Second, they stimulate your body to release more nitric oxide, a molecule absolutely essential for strong, sustained performance. So when you take white vinegar and fresh ginger together, you're not just clearing the highways of your circuit, also fueling the very signals that tell your body it's time to perform. The process is simple, but precision matters. 1 teaspoon of white vinegar, 1 teaspoon of freshly grated ginger mix into half a cup of warm water. Drink at about 20 minutes before you need results. That small window is enough time for the vinegar to start clearing the pathways, while the ginger kicks your circulation into high gear. I told Frank to give it 1 week, then check back with me. But just 3 days later, I opened my inbox to find an email from him. It was short, direct, and impossible to forget. "Doc, I woke up this morning like I was 20 again." By the end of that week, Frank wasn't just feeling different, he was living differently. He and his wife were smiling more, laughing more, talking in ways they hadn't in years. Intimacy, once awkward and frustrating, had returned. And he added something else that surprised even me. His knees felt better. The stiffness that had nagged him for years was easing up, thanks to ginger's natural anti-inflammatory properties. That's the hidden beauty of this formula. It's not just about circulation, it's about reigniting the entire system that makes a man feel alive. When blood flow improves, everything improves. Stamina rises, focus sharpens, recovery after activity becomes quicker. You don't just feel stronger, you feel younger. But as impressive as Frank's turnaround was, I knew what was coming next, and our journey was even more powerful. Because the third formula doesn't just open up blood vessels, it actually helps repair and rebuild them from the inside out. And the secret ingredient behind it, most people think of it as nothing more than a gourmet drizzle for a salad, but When combined with another natural powerhouse, it becomes one of the most effective ways I've ever seen to restore long-term performance. Formula 3. Balsamic vinegar plus pure pomegranate juice. I remember the first time I met Arthur. He was a 70-year-old retired Navy officer. His handshake was firm, his posture still upright, but behind his polite smile was a quiet frustration he didn't often speak about. Arthur had lived with discipline all his life. He ate reasonably well. He walked a couple of miles every day. On the outside, he seemed to be doing everything right, but deep down, he knew something was slipping. My will is still there, Doc, he admitted to me one afternoon, but I think my body's forgotten how to follow through. That's when I introduced him to what I call the vessel repair crew, a pairing of balsamic vinegar and pure pomegranate juice. Most people know balsamic vinegar as a tangy, sweet condiment for salads or grilled vegetables. But hidden inside are polyphenols, plant-based compounds that fight oxidative stress and strengthen the delicate inner lining of your blood vessels, known as the endothelium. Over time, that lining can become rough and damaged, like sandpaper inside a hose. When that happens, blood doesn't flow smoothly. It slows, creating turbulence and making it harder to achieve or sustain performance. Balsamic vinegar helps smooth and restore this lining, so blood can travel more freely and efficiently. Now, add in pure pomegranate juice and you've got a 1-2 punch. Pomegranate is rich in compounds called punicalagins, rare antioxidants with almost surgical precision. They don't just reduce inflammation, they actively encourage regeneration of healthy vessel tissue. Together, balsamic vinegar and pomegranate juice don't just boost circulation for the moment, they work to reverse years of gradual decline at the root cause. I instructed Arthur to mix 2 tablespoons of high-quality balsamic vinegar with 4 ounces of pure, unsweetened pomegranate juice. And here's the key: purity matters. Most commercial pomegranate juices are watered down with sugar and fillers that weaken the effect. You need the real thing. Arthur drank it twice daily, once in the morning on an empty stomach for maximum absorption, and once again about an hour before he wanted to be at his best. Within 2 weeks, the tone of his updates changed completely. At first, he wrote with cautious optimism. Then came genuine excitement. Doc, he said, I'm not just noticing changes in the bedroom. My morning walks feel easier. I'm breathing better. My legs feel stronger. That's because his improved circulation wasn't just helping one part of his body, it was lifting his entire cardiovascular system. And with that came something no pill can replicate: renewed confidence, the kind of confidence you can't fake. This formula is about more than just opening floodgates. It's about repairing them so they stay open for the long run. For men who want not just a temporary boost, but a lasting transformation, this combination is one of the most effective natural strategies I've ever seen. And yet our journey doesn't stop here, because there's a way to go even further. A method that works hand in hand with your body's own chemistry, producing the raw material for nitric oxide, naturally bypassing the limitations of most supplements. And this next formula, it comes from an unexpected source, a tradition from Japan that changes the game entirely. Picking up where we left off, let's explore some of the most surprising yet simple combinations that can transform male vitality. First on the list is rice vinegar paired with watermelon extract. Several years ago, I attended a medical conference in Tokyo, where I met Dr. Kenji Yamamoto, soft-spoken researcher, with a remarkable discovery. He had spent years studying rural Japanese communities where men well into their 70s and 80s retained a vitality that most men in the West lose decades earlier. What he found was both simple and astonishing. These men regularly consumed small drinks made from rice, vinegar, and watermelon extract. The moment I heard the specifics, I understood exactly why it worked, and why it could be a game changer. For my patients back home, rice vinegar is unique among vinegars. It's gentler, slightly alkaline, and rich in amino acids that help balance your body's pH. Think of it as preparing the soil before planting seeds. It's not just about clearing blood vessels, it's about giving your system the perfect foundation to absorb nutrients efficiently. Then comes watermelon extract. Packed with citrulline and amino acid your body converts into arginine. It fuels the production of nitric oxide, the molecule responsible for relaxing and dilating blood vessels. More blood flows exactly where it's needed. Unlike many arginine supplements, citrulline bypasses digestive breakdown, quietly converting right at the site where circulation matters most. The result is a natural, powerful surge in blood flow. When I began recommending this combination, I instructed patients to mix 1 teaspoon of rice vinegar with 2 ounces of pure watermelon extract in a small glass of room-temperature water. Timing is key. Drink it about 45 minutes before activity to allow the citrulline to arginine conversion to peak. Robert, a 66-year-old former marathon runner, described it perfectly. Doc, it's like my body suddenly remembered how to perform at full capacity, and it stayed that way for hours. The effects extend beyond performance. Men report feeling more energized, recovering faster after exercise, and noticing greater endurance during everyday tasks like yard work or long walks. It's a clean, sustained kind of vitality, no jitters, no crash, just steady, confident energy. This isn't about forcing your body to act unnaturally. It's about providing the tools it needs to operate as it was designed to. Even decades later, while this blend lays a solid foundation for circulation and stamina, the next combination engages not just the body but also the mind and emotions, creating vitality that's as much about connection as performance. Pierre, a 69-year-old retired French chef, had lived surrounded by flavor, texture, and romance. Yet when he came to see me, a sadness in his eyes revealed something was missing. Though his love for his wife remained strong, his ability to express it physically had faded. "Doc," he said, "I can still prepare the perfect dinner, but I can't finish the evening the way I used to." It wasn't just intimacy he missed. It was the confidence and passion that had defined him for years. That's when I introduced him to red wine vinegar and dark chocolate. Red wine vinegar contains resveratrol, a compound known for reducing inflammation, improving circulation, and protecting the cardiovascular system by opening blood vessels and increasing flexibility. It helps deliver oxygen-rich blood exactly where it's needed. Dark chocolate, at least 70% cacao, adds another layer. It contains flavonoids that boost nitric oxide production, phenylethylamine, which triggers feelings of attraction and pleasure, and anandamide, the bliss molecule, which reduces stress and shifts the body from tension into relaxation. For many men, stress reduction is just as important as circulation because anxiety can sabotage performance faster than any physical limitation. The preparation is simple and indulgent. Dissolve 1 teaspoon of red wine vinegar in 2 ounces of warm water, then follow with a square or 2 of dark chocolate. The warmth of the water accelerates absorption, while the chocolate begins lifting mood and circulation within minutes. Pierre reported that for the first time in years, he felt physically ready and emotionally engaged, his mind and body in harmony. Over time, this ritual became a shared moment with his wife, a glass of warm vinegar water, a square of chocolate, a knowing smile. Evenings, they once thought routine, became something they looked forward to again. Now, after seeing the impact of these formulas, I knew there had to be a way to combine their most powerful elements into one ultimate solution, a blend so effective that men well into their 80s could reclaim vitality they thought was gone forever. This is the ultimate power blend. It combines the artery-opening strength of apple cider vinegar, the testosterone-supporting benefits of raw honey, the circulation surge from fresh ginger, the vessel-repairing antioxidants of pure pomegranate juice, the absorption boost from rice vinegar, and the mood-elevating, stress-reducing qualities of dark chocolate. I've watched men in their 60s, 70s, and even 80s rediscover energy, confidence, and connection they hadn't felt in decades. They stand taller, speak with more assurance, and reconnect with their partners in ways they never imagined possible. And the best part? This isn't about forcing the body. It's about restoring the natural systems that age quietly slows down. Recipe is simple, the ingredients are affordable, and the results can be life-changing if you remain consistent. I've seen it. My patients have experienced it, and you can too. Take the first step, try the blend, and give yourself permission to feel alive again. Your best days don't have to be behind you, they can start right now.